of reclaiming their alleged stolen mandate? Well, to help us answer some of these mind-boggling questions is the Director of Strategic Communications for the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Chief Dele Momodu. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
All right. There had been allegations about the petition being withdrawn, which I believe your party has clarified that there was no such withdrawal done. We'd like you to give us further insight into this petition. We know that some of the prayers that you're asking is that the court declares that the president-elect was not duly elected into office by a majority of the lawful votes cast. There have also been, what we've seen in some parts of the country, are people who have staged protests trying to, quote-unquote, protect their mandate. What do you think are the chances of the PDP in gaining what you might consider victory?
Well, the chances of the PDP and the chances of the opposition and the chances of Nigerians in general, because this is not just about PDP or Labour Party or whatever. It is about Nigeria. You see, once you don't follow the due process, then everything would collapse. So what we're seeing now at the tribunal is a simple case, very simple and straightforward, that there was not a proper election conducted. And observers at home and abroad are very, very emphatic about this, that what they saw was not an election. It was, I mean, there are words I can't use now because we're already in court. But I can tell you that it was a big joke. So that's the way to look at it. And the courts, I'm sure, in the coming weeks and months will have plenty of evidence to deal with.
Yeah, you also got to share your thoughts on the general conduct of the elections and, of course, INEC itself as a body. I think you posted on your Instagram account, your thoughts on how INEC seemingly failed Nigerians. Can you quickly, talk a little bit more about that, and your thoughts towards the electoral body and maybe also Professor Mahmoud Yakubu?
Trust me, this is not just about Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. It's also about the promises made by the federal government of Nigeria, led by President Momodu Buhari, who I trusted on this occasion because he did promise that he would leave a worthy legacy behind. And one legacy he would love to leave would be the same legacy that President Obasanjo had left many years ago, and the same legacy that President Goodluck Jonathan had left, by conducting at least a sensible, let me use the word sensible, election. What happened in this election was absolutely senseless. I mean, and uncalled for. They might as well have just picked one candidate and just given the presidency. But a situation where you traumatize, an election and made people to go through so much stress just to vote. People were killed, people were maimed, people were beaten up, election boxes were scattered, voting materials were set ablaze. You can say, oh yeah, we've seen it all before, but not on this scale. What we saw this time was scandalous. And that is why the court will have to determine whether this was an election. And there were laid down rules. There were clear laid down rules as to how the results will be transmitted. And this was clearly disobeyed. This was not followed. And that is why, look, I don't care if anybody who wins. I'm a Nigerian, I'm a Democrat, I will say congratulations. Once the due process was followed, but in this case, no, it was not followed. Anybody who followed me in 2019 will remember that I was the first person to call on the candidate that I supported at the time, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. They ran a joint ticket at the time. I was the first to say, okay, congratulate President Buhari. This was a reasonable, even if not a perfect. But this one was a total melodrama. And that is why a lot of people would not accept it. And the judiciary would have to work very hard to justify the confidence of the people. I was watching a video yesterday of Dr. Olisa Agbakoba, SAN. I mean, this is a man that I respect so much, a legal luminary, an intellectual, and I mean, he was almost virtually expressing doubts about the seriousness of the judiciary in Nigeria. And that is dangerous because that's the last hope of the common man. So the moment people start impugning the character of judges, then we are in trouble. And it's an invitation to anarchy, and this we must avert at all costs. I'm someone who is a Democrat. I will never wish my country bad. I will not want this country to go into a civil war because it is absolutely unnecessary. It's just about the respect of the rule of law. And that is what everybody is asking for. Is it too much for us to say, obey your own rules, obey your own law? These laws were enacted so as to guide us away from anarchy. Yet, some people in Nigeria always take us back. Whenever we think we are taking 2 steps forward, some people will take us 50 steps backward. It's just unfortunate.
Mr. Chief Momodu, would like to hear your thoughts as well on some of the things that we saw during the just concluded elections. One of the issues that we see that it may have brought to the forefront would be conversations about ethnic and ethnic profiling in this case, or ethnic bigotry. There are some statements that were made on social media and allegations of people who said that they were unable to vote because they were assumed to be of a certain tribe. We'd like to find out what your thoughts are and, what the way forward really is. Is there a way forward from this?
No, there are just some overzealous people, supporters of a particular party, and I will name APC in particular, because I don't know of anywhere, well, apart from Rivers, where you had a pseudo PDP that caused mayhem and all that. But apart from that, you will never see anywhere Atiku was in control and you will see thoughts. It will never happen. Till today, you will never hear Atiku speak ill of anybody, no matter who the person is. But in some places, it was out of desperation, which was unnecessary. I mean, everybody knew that APC traditionally, Lagos State traditionally is an APC state. Of course, there were attempts to dislodge the APC in Lagos. And the confidence was built on the fact that they were able to defeat the APC presidential candidate, which was a tug of war. It was an easy win in Lagos. And there are still disputes even about the margin of the votes in Lagos State. So I believe that APC in Lagos just got unnecessarily panicky. And that is why some of the people started saying, oh, the Igbos in Lagos must have been responsible for what happened. Yeah, Lagos is not a no man's land. Lagos is not for the Igbos. It's not for non-Yoruba and so on, blah, blah, blah. But the truth is that in a democracy, if you want democracy to thrive, and some of us today, some of those who are in government today, who are all in exile, fighting for this democracy,